How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA DFS Pick Show. I'm your host, TK Nation 47, riding solo today. John Cool 19 is out in Mexico on vacation, so hopefully John is having a good time, enjoying, I believe, Cancun and getting into some hot weather as it is blistering cold here in the northern states. Don't worry, John, you are not missing anything. Still really cold, still windy, and hopefully you're having a good time and enjoy yourself. And we will be back together again for, I believe, La Quinta as we head into the West Coast. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about Sony. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an insight into the course. Waialae Country Club is a short plotters course, I believe a par 70 or 71. So not many par fives, a lot of par four scoring from 400 to 450, a lot of shots from the 150 mark, maybe 150 to 175 would be the predominant shot proximity that you are looking for. A lot of plotters do well here. This is the quote unquote old man's course. We've seen recent winners like Matt Kuchar, Kevin Na. I'm sure you've heard these names being talked about how they won this event previously. Cam Smith won it in 2020. Not really doing much, but putting the lights out. That's something what we're looking for. Guys that can really make great approach shots, make a lot of putts. I mean, obviously that seems to be the good, the approach week in and week out, but off the tee doesn't really matter too much here as guys that even spray it a little bit, not much thick rough to deal with on this course. So guys that try to bomb and gouge here don't really tend to over dominate, I would say, the leaderboard. It's really a thinking man's course. Guys that can, like I said, play well around the greens. As we've seen Cam Smith do, absolutely lights out at Century. That was really something else to see. To see minus 36 win a golf tournament, kind of video game like. But all right, let's get into it. If you're new, we talk a little bit about favorites, some values, and sleepers. Let's kick it off with our favorites. I'm going to go with SUNGJAE and Taylor Gooch. SUNGJAE 10-3, 16-1. Finished T8 at the Century. He is sixth in the model. Really loved what I saw from SUNGJAE last week. I like what I'm seeing from him in the past swing events. Bermuda is definitely his predominant putting surface as well. 19th at the Houston, 9th at the CJ Cup, and he won the Shriners over the swing season. So he's got a lot of good form. Third in greens gained, sixth in ball striking, and he is eighth. He is fifth in par five scoring. All right, Taylor Gooch, third in the model on the approach, fourth tee to green, third on par fives. Is going to really make him count. 13th in opportunities gained, stat that kind of weighs, thanks to our friends here at Fantasy National Golf Club. Opportunities game is a statistic that even if you don't make the green, if you chip in from just off the green and from the fringe, or putt from off the fringe, or any kind of around the green birdie making, that's kind of the statistic opportunities game. I like that. Taylor Gooch won the RSM, did okay last week. He's really been the man of the swing season. A couple of top 20s. I think it's noteworthy that he's a very strong cash play. I think he's going to be popular. I think people are going to gravitate towards that price tag as well at 9,100. I think he's going to be circled as the man in that price range. You could also see a lot of ownership towards Connors as well. I think both of them will make for very strong cash plays. I think he's worthy of a tournament fade, though. A player like maybe Kokrak would be an interesting GBP play in that price range. I think I'm going to have exposure to all four. Connors, Gooch, and Kokrak. I think those are going to be names that I start a lot of lineups, intertwined with those four names. But yeah, I think these two right here are my favorites, though. The ones worth talking about. Value plays. I'm going to go with my favorite play of the week, SEAMUS Power 8,100. I think he is the best value on the board at 40 to 1. That's a decent bet, too. Great form, second in the model. He is ninth on the approach, sixth tee to green, fourth on those par fives. And I talked about par four scoring from 400 to 450. He's ranks 10th. SEAMUS Power, really great form. As I mentioned last week, 15th, fourth at the RSM. Did miss the cut at the Houston Open, but that's typically a hard course. 11th at the Mayakoba, a strong correlation on the coast of Mexico. And then 12th at the Bermuda, another coastal course, and 21st at the Shriners. He had himself a really good swing season, and he won the Barbasol in Kentucky. So SEAMUS Power, lock it in. My favorite play, cash GPPs. Next up, we got the bucket hat swag, Joel Dahman, 7,600. Got me an extra comma in there. 50 to 1. I don't mind him. 11th in ball striking. It was really hard to find a consistent golfer like Dahman down here. I think you can kind of pick, nitpick at any player from, below 8K. There's going to be something wrong with them, but Dahman, I think, gives you the best opportunity at some consistency. 17th in ball striking, 24th in the model overall, 8th in that opportunities gained statistic. He does struggle on those par fives, but there aren't too many here. Yes, you want to score and make sure those count, but it's not like he's got 4 of them to score on. So as long as he can find his way to scoring on a few and then continue to slam those par four from 400 to 450, I think Dahman will be just fine. Next up, we have our sleeper slide. I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldog. Georgia just won the national championship. They all got together in Hawaii to watch the game. HUDSON SWAFFORD, 6,800. I think he's an interesting play. He's won on the tour twice now. 6,800. He's boomer bust mentality, but he's 12th in ball striking. He's actually in decent form at 151. I don't mind it. Maybe the first round leader or like the top 10 or top 20 each way from a betting perspective. 7th in greens gained, 15th in opportunities gained. He does struggle from that par 4 distance, but he does make up for it on par 5s. 26th in strokes gained approach. I thought that was really nice to see from SWAFFORD. Yes, we prefer him on Poa Oana greens, but, hey, 33rd at the Mayakoba. He's gained on the approach in every tournament since the Fortnite Championship. And before that, he even made the Northern Trust. And he played his way into the BMW before getting bounced out before the Tour Championship. SWAFFORD really has really impressed lately. He just doesn't get it done around the green. That's unfortunate. I think if he has a plus putting week, though, it's going to be a top 20, and that's exactly what I want from SWAFFORD, that upside that he provides. I believe he won a tournament. He finished second at the Palmetto. He won the Corrales Punta Cana as a coastal course, so I like SWAFFORD for that reason. Next up, we have Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard makes a lot of birdies. He's actually had a relatively good swing season. I had to really deep dive this one. 6,600, 130 to 1. He does rank 37th in the model. He doesn't do anything outstanding, but then he doesn't do anything else poorly. Scores pretty well on the par 5s. Really good putter, actually. And, like I said, makes birdies in bunches. 22. He was 22nd at the Bermuda, 44th at the Shriners, and 16th at the Fortnite Championship. So he's had a really decent swing season. He's gained on approach in every event except for the Wyndham. He was 16th at the 3M this past year. And I believe Mr. Hubbard has some decent course history as well. 32nd last year. And then a couple of missed cuts and then a couple of made cuts. So he's 3 for 5 with a top 35 last year. I just need Hubbard to make a lot of birdies. He's been in a couple of good lineups for me over the years. I'm going to roll the dice here with Hubbard and see what kind of magic he can bring. All right, on to the one and done selections from our friends at Fantasy National Golf Club. If you had not had a chance, the contest is now full for the big one and done event. It is 4,440 of us locked in for $500,000 in prizes. 50K to the top prize. This is the very first week of the contest. I had gotten John's one and done on his way out the door from Mexico on Monday. He told me he put in Mark Leishman. Might have changed sitting around in the airport. I'm not sure, but I'm going to write that down for John as we follow along here. And I'm going to go with Seamus Power. Hopefully he can continue that strong form. You definitely want to hit winners. So we're hoping to get some upside here with these two. Leishman, a really strong bet. I believe he is, Aussies tend to do well early on in the year, especially in Hawaiian Islands. So, and Power, coming off of that recent swing season win, all the things that I suggested earlier. So here it is, our very first one and done slide of the year. I know, guys, we're talking about strategy, and I just wanted to kind of emphasize what John was talking about in our Discord. If you want to make sure you get guys at certain courses, that's fine, but usually you want to save your studs, guys that you have the best feeling for in your majors, like, hey, DJ in like the US Open, or Brooks Koepka in the PGA Championship, guys that do well in those events, time in and time out. That makes a lot of sense. But really, it's a week-to-week breakdown. Guys' form changes. Your gut feelings change. The statistics change. From weekend to week out, it's really about course fit, good form. And, hey, if there's a course history that kind of meshes up well with all of that, and it just kind of pops for you, then, all right, there you go. There's your one and done, so to speak. And that's kind of like what I'm going with here with Seamus Power. I think everything's kind of lined up for him to make a big splash in this event. So I think he might be a big play this week. Might be a popular one, but I think a lot of people might gravitate towards some of the more bigger names, and hopefully they leave Power sub 15%. We'll see. All right, guys, thank you for listening in. That'll wrap things up for us. For this week. Please like this video, comment below with any questions you may have. You can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. You can follow us on Twitter at FSI_DFS. You can follow us on our website, FSIDFS.com. You can find the Discord links in those Twitter handles and websites. If you want to join the chat. Everybody's chatting every day. We'll post course tomorrow and talk some golf while we're making lineups. All right, guys, thanks again. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and talk to you next week.